I'm just waiting for everybody to hear the robot tell them that they're being recorded, and then we'll get started. Just give it one more minute. Okay, I think that should be everybody that was from the waiting room. So welcome to the October Portland Modern Quilt Guild meeting, and we will go ahead and get started. I'd like to start by thanking our sponsors, Modern Domestic, Bolt Fabric, Aloha Sewing and Vacuum, and Montevilla Sewing Centers. We're going to start with a programs preview, and Susan is going to preview the upcoming programs that we have. So Susan.
Thank you, Chris. I'm Susan Beal. I'm Programs for Meeting lead for this year. And I just wanted to share what we have coming up through December. First, we're very excited to have a new workshop from Audrey Essere, who we presented 2 different sessions of her watercolor quilt class over the last year, which was an amazing workshop. She's teaching Exploring Curves, which she'll be also teaching at QuiltCon in February. But we're getting to have it first. So thank you so much to Erin for reaching out to her. It is currently sold out, but our waitlist often does have movement. So please join the waitlist if you're interested, and we'd be thrilled to let you know if a space opens and you're able to join. Next month's meeting will be very special. It's Carolina Onito, a Chilean quilt artist who lives in Brazil, and she'll be speaking on Friends of Color, which if you've seen her quilts and work on Instagram or in other guilds hosting, or her teaching or speaking, her color language is exquisite. And so we're really excited for that lecture. And then her workshop will be on the Sunday of that weekend. I just want to highlight that normally our workshops are often on Saturdays, but her availability was the Sunday. So it is at 10 a.m. as our normal start time. And it's $30. And we do still have spots available in that class. If you'd like to take it, just jump on in. And we'll be sharing more about Carolina in the weeks leading up to the meeting. Our year is going to end with Deborah Boschert speaking on captivating compositions. If you'll note, the bolded date is going to be a little early because of holidays and commitments, but it will be our normal meeting time of 7 p.m. Pacific. And she'll be teaching a workshop on December 12th from 10 to 1 on Head, Heart, and Hands Developing Your Creative Voice. You'll see much more on this coming soon, but the scholarship for this workshop opens in a few days, and we'd love to have you apply if you're interested. The workshop will go on sale on November 1st, and we'll be sharing more in our social media and our newsletter leading up to those. So join her for that class if you're captivated by it. I'm very excited for this bonus program, which is coming up in 2 weeks. And Chris, would you like to share on it since you're brought it to life, or I'm happy to?
You can. How about you do it?
I'll just keep going. Well, why not? Thank you.
Why not? Keep it going.
Yeah. Well, 2 wonderful superstars of our very own guild, Kimberly Benefield and Michelle Friedman, will be joining us for kind of a coffee and lunch hangout on Sunday, November 14th at noon. Each of them has achieved incredible success in the fabric industry as both creative quilters and sewers, and pattern and fabric designers and teachers. So they'll be discussing their careers and their work with companies and how they got started in design, and just really, I think, have the kind of opportunity to talk to incredible overachieving superstars who also happen to be incredibly friendly, lovely Portland, Oregon residents and longtime Guild members. So we hope that you'll join us for this. Our previous bonus programs have been a lot of fun. If you haven't attended one yet, they're completely free to PMQG members. There's no registration required, and you just need to check the members only page on our Guild website to get the link, and just click over and we'll welcome you right in at noon. There's no registration, as I mentioned, and no other things you need to do except just show up and get inspired. So it's been a lot of fun to do these bonus programs. And I just wanted to thank our treasurer, Angel Van Note, especially for the opportunity to do these. She's the visionary who earlier this summer realized that we still had some programs budget because most years we're spending money on hotels and plane tickets and workshop venue rentals to welcome incredible teachers and speakers. But with our Zoom format, we had extra programs budget left. So she came up with the idea of this wonderful bonus program that's completely free to members. Amy has a question. Will this one be recorded? Thank you so much for asking that, because Chris was finalizing it. So Chris, if you can speak to that quickly, that would be great.
Sorry, I was muted. I believe that yes, it will be. I need to check one last time with the presenters, but I believe that we will be recording it, and the recording will be available in the members only page. And it also looks like there's a question from somebody named iPhone 5. If they would like to unmute and ask. Or just put your question in the chat, that works too.
And I do see someone just direct messaged me asking how to join the extra bonus classes. And I will message you back as soon as we're done with this, but there's a link on our members only page on PMQG. If you visit the members only page and you scroll down, because there's quite a bit of other Zoom links for our monthly meetings, for DIA committee meetings, and queer quilters and other small groups. If you keep scrolling down, you'll see our bonus programs, and there's a direct link to join those. So I'll also put this in a quick message back, but in case anyone else was unclear on how to access them, that's exactly how you find it. Yeah, thank you so much, Chris. Okay, well, I am so excited to welcome Tara Miller to PMQG. I'm Susan Beal. I'm Programs for Meetings lead this year, and it has been so much fun to get to know our presenters and get to introduce them to you all. Tara is a quilt historian as well as a talented quilter and pattern designer herself. She serves on the board of directors of the American Quilt Study Group, and she's a member of the MQG, just like most and all of us, and founded the Atlanta Quilt Study Group in 2019. She's also one of the 6 Know-It-Alls, which is a lively monthly series on quilt history and culture. And she produces Quiltside Chats, which is a YouTube series by the American Quilt Study Group. Mark your calendars for January 16th, 2022, when she'll also be in front of the camera as a Quiltside Chats guest, discussing feminist quilt artist Jean Ray Lowry. Tara is also a prolific writer and lecturer with a passion for vintage and antique quilts, recently covering the 50th anniversary of the visionary Abstract Design and American Quilts exhibition for Simply Modern magazine. Her documentation and historical work brings new light to old quilts, something we're passionate about here at PMQG as well. We're excited to share some treasured family quilts in the show and tell tonight. And for those who are inspired by Tara to tell their own quilt stories, both modern made by ourselves and vintage from handed down within our families are found at a yard sale or a thrift store. We have a special guide to labeling and documenting your quilts on our PMQG blog, as well as a recording of our virtual event earlier this year, which was a lot of fun, sharing techniques and ideas, including some gorgeously done labels from our longtime member, Julene Vajada. Thanks so much for joining us, Tara. I've been so looking forward to your talk. And on a personal note, I knew I would enjoy your work when I saw that you also, like many of us, love to store your fabric neatly wrapped on comic book cardboards, which is an A+ fabric storage method, in my opinion. Please join me in welcoming Tara Miller. Thank you, Tara.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you, Tara. Do we have any questions? I didn't really see anything in the chat. I'm seeing an amazing talk. Thank you so much. It was amazing.
Thank you.
Appreciated it.
Thank you for inviting me.
Mhm.
Where do I find these quilts? Did you want to read the questions to me, Chris? I didn't mean to take your thunder.
No, that's okay.
Oh, that's so nice, Casey. Thank you. Wow, wow, wow. That was so nice. Thanks. Yeah, great quote. Okay, let me see. I'll scroll up to the others. Sorry, I disconnected my mouse.
Okay.
Let's see. I made a Raggedy Ann and Andy dolls. I love them. Humpty bunnies. Loved these shows. Yes, it really, really was radical. It absolutely was. And that was the night that, oh, Stephanie knows her Julia quotes. Yes. And that was the night the lights went out in Georgia. Sorry, that's from Designing Women. If people in Canada, you can watch all the seasons of Designing Women. Oh, cool. They feel similar to Amish colors. Oh my God. Sorry, I'm having fun looking. I love her poems. I have that book. Somebody did ask me where, here it is, Stephanie, where do I find these quilts? I am lucky enough to know some people who deal quilts. So that's some of the places I get them is from friends of mine who are actually quilt dealers. And then other times I buy them on eBay. I do. And I do recommend buying on eBay if you know what you're looking for, or you have someone else you can ask about it, because there are a lot of people who are lacking integrity who are selling on eBay, and they will bill something as something it is not, because they know everybody wants feed sacks. So they'll tell you it has feed sacks when it doesn't, or whatever. So just be careful, buyer beware if you're going to do that. I have bought a few off of Facebook Marketplace, but again, buyer beware. Okay, link for the talk on Jean Ray Laurie. I don't have it yet. It will be, if you could go to, you know what, you can go to American Quilt Study Group, or you can follow me, Quilt District, and I will be posting about it and I'll share it there. So if you wanted to circle back around to there, you could get it at that point. Chris, shut me up anytime you need to.
Okay. So I'll let you know. Susan was asking if you have a current favorite 20th century quilt in your own collection.
Oh, it's so hard to choose. That's like choosing your favorite child. And you do, and we all know that you have different favorites, different days. Right?
Oh yeah.
My favorite 20th century one in my collection right now. It might be my I'll Do It How I Damn Well Please, with the Joseph's coat applique. That might be the one. Yeah. Did you see any others? I think maybe you were better at finding them. I'm sorry.
Amy wants to know, how do you age quilts, especially the ones you don't have that you see in pictures online?
That's a great question, Amy. So several different ways. You look for clues, right? It's kind of like an investigative process. You can look for, certain colors were available at certain time periods. So you get into learning about science a little bit too. Let's see, if you see them online, you really need to see close-ups. And it just takes practice, really. I hate to sound like I'm putting you off with that answer, that it takes practice, but the more you see, the more you know. And then sometimes when it's a museum that's posted it, and I know that the museum knows what they're talking about, I can fairly well look at and say, if they said 30s and 40s, I can say, okay, I can trust that. And then I might, based on my own other knowledge, be able to pinpoint that down a little more narrowly. I will say that I was at a museum, I will not name the museum, but I was at a quilt museum several months ago, and they had a quilt listed with the wrong date on it. But what do you do? So you look at the certain prints, the certain colors of the fabric, sometimes the style. Certain textiles were available and others weren't. Like, you know, if somebody's billing, if you are into collecting mid 19th century quilts and somebody on eBay says, we have this Civil War period quilt, and you might, whatever, that might trigger something for you. And it has black cotton fabric in it, then it's definitely not. It's going to be 1880s, 90s and after, because they didn't have a reliable black dye that would be color fast on cotton at that time. So you learn those kinds of things.
One last question.
Yeah.
Michelle wants to know, if you were going to collect a quilt from the 21st century, what quilt would be on your wish list?
Oh, what a fantastic question. Oh, I got goosebumps. From the 21st century, so like now, it would have to be something by Victoria Finley Wolfe. I think it would have to be one of hers. And I don't know that I could pick. You'd have to put them in front of me and make me pick. No. That's a great question. That's a really hard one.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Oh, guys, I've had a really nice time. Sorry about the audio earlier, but I'm glad we got it worked out.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. I think I'll sign off now.
Okay. Have a good night.
Okay. Bye. Bye, Sam. I don't know where she is, but I know Sam.
She's here.
Okay, bye.
Okay, I'm going to go back to sharing my screen to start the business portion of our meeting. Okay, I wanted to talk about the 2022 PMQG ballot. It will be emailed to members tomorrow at 9 a.m. And currently our candidates are, for president, Sarah Flynn; vice president, membership and procurement, Marcy McFarlane; vice president, technology and social media, Chris Marchini; secretary, Nadia Sokol; treasurer, Ann Nelson; programs for coordinator for meetings, Marika Zimmerly-Beck; and programs coordinator for workshops, Allison Evans. We also have a bylaw amendment that will be on the ballot. So basically, let's see. Oh, sorry. And just to read off what is here, the vote's going to be held October 22nd through the 28th via electronic ballot. If you do not receive your ballot at 9 a.m. tomorrow, make sure to check your others folder or your promotions folder. If you're in Gmail, that's where a lot of my PMQG emails go. But let us know if you did not get your ballot and we can send it to you. And so the current bylaw, it's bylaw 5.3, and the current bylaw talks about removal of an officer. And it is, any officer may be removed with or without cause at a meeting called for that purpose by a vote of the majority of the members. So we felt as though, this year's board felt as though that was rather vague and does not really give a concrete process by which to hold this vote. What do you do? So we are proposing to amend the bylaw to say that any officer may be removed with or without cause by following the Portland Modern Quilt Guild vote of confidence, no confidence procedure. And this procedure is currently in the members only section of the website. And if this bylaw amendment is approved, that will become the new procedure for removing a board member, if we ever need to come to that. So volunteers, so we need your help, and we really appreciate active engagement in the Guild. And we're currently looking for more members to serve on the Elections and Ethics Committee. So when you read through the procedure for removing an officer, it mentions a lot about the Elections and Ethics Committee, and we need members to serve on it. It would probably not require very much time at all. It's mostly just if we do have a situation where a board member, a vote of no confidence is called, We would need committee members to serve on that. And this is going to be chaired by Michelle Friedman. She stepped forward to be the chair of this committee. So please email the Guild if you are interested in volunteering to be on this committee. And is Kimberly here to talk about your exciting sew along?
I'm here.
Hi.
Hi. First of all, thank you for featuring this, but I just wanted to speak on it briefly because, so this is a quilt along sponsored by Quilting Daily, many other sponsors, including Maywood Studio, Brother, Mountain Mist, Batting, Fiskars, etc. But one of the things I really love about this is I really tried to pay attention to and cater towards beginning quilters and also modern quilters. So this quilt along really steps you through taking ombre fabrics and turning them into a really modern design. And so one of the great things about this is the prizes, including a new Brother sewing machine. And I have like the predecessor to the one that's being a part of the giveaway, which is a BQ 3100, has about a 10.5-inch throat space. The walking foot is belt driven. And so when I'm sewing things like spirals, oh my gosh, it's awesome. So that's the other aspect of it that I think is really great. So I want to make sure that our guild knows not everyone follows me. Follow me on Instagram if you don't, but not everyone follows me, I know. So those of you that have probably seen this ad nauseum, those of you that haven't, I just wanted to make sure to kind of make it open to us, the prizes. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kimberly. Yeah. Follow Kimberly. Northwest Pepper.
Yes, Northwest Pepper.
NW Pepper. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
And Michelle, we have another member spotlight. Are you here, Michelle?
I'm here.
Hi.
And Kimberly's Sew Along is free until November 10th. So sign up now. I think it's November 10th. So I am excited to share a fabric collection that I helped with at Maywood Studio that was inspired by a workshop that was a PMQG workshop. So I'm sure many of you took the Anna Joyce workshop just about a year ago. Was it a year ago? Something like that. I think it was in October or September, where we learned how to ice dye. And I've been dyeing for years. That joke never gets old. But I hadn't ever dyed with ice. I'd never done ice dyeing. I'd done every other kind of dyeing. I've done events for 4,000 people, dyeing t-shirts and crazy things like that. And I was really excited to get to do this ice dye workshop. And it was also during quarantine. And I set up my backyard for Susan Beal to come over. We live in the same neighborhood, and we social distance ice dyed together. And something in my brain just went, I have to keep doing this, as with many of us that took that workshop that day. And my backyard turned into an ice dye factory. I had many adventures in my backyard doing all kinds of dyeing. This is one day of dyeing, but there were like kiddie pools involved and buckets of ice and giant glass vases and tubes from the hardware store. It just went a little crazy. And our art director at Maywood Studio asked me to bring in, at that time we weren't bringing in, we were kind of bringing over some of the pieces. She wanted to see them in person. And she's like, can I borrow these? And I said, of course, they're beautiful. If you've seen ice dye pieces, they're just like paintings. There's so much in each piece that you could study them, and the color combinations are inspiring. And so she had them for a while, and she asked me, she said, I really want to do a collection with this. Would you be open to that? And I laughed, and I'm like, there is no way you can put these in repeat. These are one-of-a-kind pieces. And she's like, if you trust me, I will do this and it'll be beautiful. So from PMQG workshop to a collaboration at work with genius art director and an incredibly talented production artist. These were put into repeat and then also used to paint in these beautiful panels. So they created patterns with these that they did some art pieces with as well. So the design process slide is showing some strike off, which these were digitally printed. So they came in and the art department works with the strike off and makes changes. So it goes from this workshop to backyard adventures through the design process to reality. So those are some boxes at the distributor E.E. Shank. And then just a few weeks ago, I got to see these in the wild in Hamilton, Missouri, where I was invited to travel and demonstrate how to ice dye, how these fabrics were made. So it was a whole lot of fun. And then the quilt pattern that you see, that picture there, I think there's a link to it that we can share in the chat. That is a pattern that I designed. It's kind of funny, I was looking at it recently, I'm like, oh, it looks like the blue plastic grid pieces I put my fabric on when I ice dye, so it's kind of a meta quilt, I guess. But that was at a wedding. I brought a quilt to a wedding because I knew it was a beautiful day. And our art director was there as well, and she danced with my quilt at the wedding. So it's a really exciting project to be part of. And I owe a lot of the genesis of this to this workshop with Anna Joyce. If you have a chance to take a workshop with her, it's fantastic. She's a great teacher, and she's got some content online as well. If you look for Anna Joyce and ice dye, and she just really is a master of that. And I am donating a fat quarter bundle. It's 11 pieces and both panels that I got to hold in my hands. You could see me holding it up in the sky recently because these have been sitting, the fabric was on a container in Seattle forever. And I just wanted to drive to Seattle and like load up my car and like my friend's car and drive back with this fabric. So we just got them. It's very exciting. So I bought one and I'm like, and I'm going to give it away now, because that's what we do, right? We have it for a minute and then we give it away because we know we can do great things with fabric, like raise a lot of money for charities that we're passionate about. And there's a second pattern that we're going to, I think we can put in the chat tonight. This is a little Summer of Love quilt. This was designed for the Missouri Star event, and the idea is to mix your own ice dye piece here in the heart, and then you can use fire and ice around, or your own ice dye. So it was really hard to cut into my ice dyed fabric, so I'm glad that I have yards forever now of some of these pieces that I dyed in my backyard on those adventures. So yeah, can I take questions? Do we have time?
Yeah, we could probably do just a couple of questions. Otherwise, Michelle and Kimberly will both be doing a bonus program, and we can always do questions then. Is there any, like a quick question? Or maybe everybody's gonna wait.
Yeah, well, join us on that chat, because
Yeah,
I don't know, Kimberly, I've got some questions for you lined up, so.
It should be good. A good behind the scenes looks.
Uh-oh. But thank you for inviting me to share this. I'm excited, and it's the most fun part for me about this was just all of the collaboration that went into making this collection. You could see behind me, there's a quilt that someday I might write a pattern for. I don't know, it's called my Magic Waffle Quilt, but it really shows off the colors in this collection. It's a lot of fun. So, thanks.
Thank you. Another fun thing is that I saw Michelle last week, 2 weeks ago, I don't even remember, and she gave me a fat quarter bundle of Hometown Halloween by Maywood Studio. And if you guys stick around to the end, we're going to do a fun little giveaway with those bundles. Or, well, it's one bundle that we're going to split into two. So stick around to the end to show tell, and we will do a little giveaway thanks to Maywood. So thank you, Michelle. Sarah, are you in the audience?
I'm here.
Hi.
Hello. Oh, it's my turn. On Veterans Day, we would like to share and highlight members of the Guild that are veterans or a family member of veterans. I am a veteran and my dad is a veteran, and it's a passion project of mine. Help destigmatize some stuff on Veterans Day. So we're hoping to highlight people that are veterans themselves and maybe have a family member, because that also is a huge gift of service. So if you are a veteran or a family member, if you want to participate in this, we'd really appreciate it. You can send me an email. There's my email address, sarah.flynn77@gmail. If you want to send me a brief bio, something that'll fit in social media, and a picture. Love a picture of your time in service, because people just love those pictures, but if you don't have one, that's okay. And if you have a picture of a favorite quilt, that'd be great too. And we'd like to feature veterans that are in our guild or family members of veterans for Veterans Day, instead of the pictures of flags and talks of things that are kind of not great, I guess. That's it.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for organizing this too. Sarah wrote into the guild with this great idea, and I'm thankful that she's able to help us organize it. We will be selling PMQG t-shirts. Pre-orders will be in November, and this is just a sneak peek of what they will look like. We will be working with Phantom Chicken Studio again. They make wonderful t-shirts. Everything is hand done and with a really great eye to detail. So look for these to go on sale in November. We'll definitely announce it during the meeting in November to let everybody know as well. Will we be able to ship to Canada? Let me check into that, Nadia. That would be really good. Yeah, I'll have to figure it out. I'll let you know. Okay, so in-person activities. I think I've mentioned this last month. If you have an idea for a safe, socially distanced in-person activity, we would love to know. We would love to support you. We can announce it at a meeting, or basically, if you are able to organize something for the guild, that would be great, and we will be behind you and help you get the word out. So contact us via email if you have an idea. And Susan, do you have some DEIA updates for us?
Yes, thank you so much, Chris. This is Susan. I am really honored to co-chair our DEIA committee and support of Kimberly Benefield. I wanted to share some quick updates from our last meeting, which was a very productive one. And we're eager to welcome new members to the committee. So if you're interested in joining us, please feel free to reach out, come to the next meeting, or just connect any way that works best for you. As of this month, we have now expanded our committee acronym to include the A as accessibility, as this is a core value of our guild, being accessible and offering our virtual and in-person events as literally accessibly as possible, going well beyond ADA accommodations to include supports like Otter AI, which is running right now if you're ever in need of it, whether it's for processing speed or auditory or visual differences. It's right here ready for you and any other member to use. So we explored the accessibility that we can offer and continue to improve on. I also wanted to share that we have moved forward on a date range for our guild-wide DEIA education opportunity. Construct the Present, if you see their logo in the lower left-hand corner, is an incredible Black and woman-owned and founded organization in the Portland, Oregon area. They've led DEIA events for Multnomah County Library and many other organizations and companies. And we're working on a 90-minute event that would be open to up to 50 guild members. Kimberly has curated the topics that we'll focus on just to best serve our large and diverse community. This will be a virtual event and accessible to everyone who's interested, regardless of if you live in the area or in the United States. This is meant for all Guild members, and we're really eager for the chance to learn together. The topics that we focused on for this first event are privilege, fundamentals of community engagement, and microaggressions. And then we'd like to have a second focus on gender 101 and identity. Our hope is that this educational event could provide general guidance that will cover as many DEIA related issues as possible, especially this year when our Guild has gone through so much, while being mindful of the fact that we're a community primarily composed of individuals with some level of privilege. We need to be able to work together productively to really live our Guild values. So addressing some of the conflicts and issues that have come up in the last year through true education would be incredibly valuable. If the first event fills completely, we would be thrilled to offer a second one. And so we'll be working on that, and hopefully we'll have dates and more specifics to share soon. We also wanted to focus on observing cultural heritage months and dates in a natural, organic, and really weaving into our year of Guild programming and our DEIA social media on the main Portland Modern Quilt Guild Instagram and Facebook. You may have noticed on Indigenous Peoples Day about a week ago, we celebrated NAYA, which is Native American Youth and Family Center, and they're here in Portland, Oregon, but they serve their communities much more widely and do an incredible job. I would love for you to just take a look at that if you aren't familiar with their work. We were just really wanting to amplify what Indigenous advocacy and organizations and people are doing rather than speak for them. So this was an opportunity for us to try to share some of that respect and appreciation and celebration for them. So we'd like to weave our celebrations of Black, Hispanic, Indigenous, Asian, and all cultures, races, and for example, LGBTQIA+ community members and advocacy groups into our programming, events, and gatherings all year round, instead of simply focusing on a single month or day. Certain times, and to quote the MQG DEIA co-chair, Alita Crawley, while certain times may lend themselves to such celebrations, American culture, and I would say international culture, is an amalgam of so many cultures, and we can and should celebrate them throughout the year. So if you have ideas that we can, or wonderful organizations we can amplify handmade efforts, quilters, designers, please reach out to the Guild and let us know, and we would be really honored to hear your suggestions for who we can best celebrate as an organization. The MQG Grievance Policy was unveiled in September. We heard about it about a month in advance, just as a general announcement. And then everyone who's an MQG member should have received an email with information on it, I think around mid-September. I'll have more to say in a minute on our PMQG grievance, but I just wanted to share that there are over 200 local MQGs at this point, and clearly an organization of that size really needs clear, defined, and fair and transparent processes for any disagreements or struggles that may come up. But they've unveiled it, and if you've ever had an adverse experience at an MQG event, you'll be able to speak with someone and relay your story, and they have a very clear, very defined process. I won't rehash the entire thing, but it is available on their website. Last, our November DEIA meeting date is still TBA. It has been a little challenging to find one date, a day of the month and time that works well for everyone. We're currently in the second week of the month, just because that does seem like a convenient time. It's a full week before our normal Guild meeting. We are open to Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday evenings at either 6 or 7 p.m. Pacific. I'm going to be sending out a doodle poll to all of our current committee members to finalize our November date as best we can. And we will publicize that as well as an agenda. But if you're interested in joining, please do reach out to us, and I'd be happy to add you to that outreach about setting our date and time. I know we can do it, but you know, everyone's busy, but we're all motivated and committed. So it has been a really meaningful and deep experience to be part of this group, and I appreciate everyone who's contributed. So next, I'd like to share some of our Guild updates. I'll try to keep this quick. I know this has been a wonderful night, but want to make sure everyone gets to enjoy show and tell quilts in a timely way. I just want to start by acknowledging that this has been an incredibly hard year, going on 2 years for all of us, no matter what your circumstances are, where you live, or how affected you've been by the coronavirus pandemic and the many losses that have come with it. I just want to take a moment to acknowledge that we've made it through this far, and that our 2021 board has had an incredibly difficult year in Guild leadership, but also a very beautiful year. And I just want to thank our members for sticking with us. And we have over 350 members now in 10 states and 2 countries. So it's an incredible community, and it's changed my life. I was at the first meeting when there were 30 of us in a community center in Southwest Portland, and meeting via Flickr. And just seeing our growth has been, especially having just shared our DIA updates, there's so much to be proud of and thankful for. I also just want to clearly and deeply say how much I personally and all of us on the board appreciate the 7 folks who have stepped up to volunteer next year for the board. Because what has been hard is all of us have been on, 2 of the 8 of us have been on for a single year, 2021. 4 of us joined mid-year last year, so we're going on our 18 months. And then 2 heroes, Angel and Renee, have been on for 2 solid years. We are really honored to do it. We're happy to do it, but it's been very challenging. And so I wanted to share an update on how things have gone and the work that we've done in the last couple months, but without taking a moment to thank those who will succeed us next year. It's just, that really makes all the difference, knowing that we will have a next year of programming, because our organization can't function without a board. And it means a lot to know that we'll have that continuity and everything will continue going forward and we can all be part of it. Since our last detailed update at the August meeting, if you attended that, it is recorded and on our YouTube for members only if you missed it, but we shared quite a bit of updates about the very difficult and heated situation our guild had been enduring just that month of August. We've been working hard on healing a very traumatic and incredibly difficult experience. And the fact that it mostly unfolded on social media was an especially difficult element. We were targeted by many non-members who weren't familiar with PMQG, had never attended meetings or been part of it, which, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but we were repeatedly accused of being unwelcoming to queer members and to causing harm to them and to others via our longtime meeting space of St. Andrew's Church, which was 7 years from 2013 to 2020. The Guild received a barrage of angry and threatening social media messages as the heated situation intensified, and it was followed by a very startling call for a vote of no confidence, which is something that we hadn't experienced. And in fact, I don't think any other MPG of the 200 had experienced. From what we hear, we've really been the pioneers on this one. So I'd like to transparently update you as much as possible, and we welcome your thoughts, responses, and feedback tonight in the chat or an email to the Guild. Full disclosure, I'm not going to be able to reply to direct messages until I'm done talking. I tried that last time, it was really hard. First, to address the assertions that PMQG has been systemically oppressive to queer members, we began by unreservedly apologizing for any harm done in the past or present over 12 years of very varying leadership, which we personally may not have any knowledge of. We also created an anonymous contact option and asked anyone who had experienced adverse treatment to share their accounts, importantly, with complete privacy via a form on our website that does not collect any information. This was a request, I'll put request in quotes, for the vote of no confidence, not something that the board ourselves wanted for any reason. And so it was asserted that this harm had been done and we had no knowledge of it, so we had to ask. We searched all our surveys, town halls, and every email in the PMQG Gmail account and Drive. And through all this effort and our open call, we have not found or heard about any concerning evidence or details in this direction. Without that voluntary sharing, we can't ethically push harder for people to share painful memories or accounts. Our hope is that the MQG and now PMQG grievance processes will be a fair, clear, and protective way for anyone in need of them. And it goes beyond a single year's board to truly speak to justice for anyone who's suffered harm. We did the best we could, and no one's volunteered anything that would be needing that type of grievance or judicial process. The primary complaints we did find, both historically and currently, are disagreements or interpersonal issues between individual members. Rather than someone in board leadership using that power to abuse others. Well, this is a relief because it's definitely a very heavy weight to hear that your organization that you are in current leadership of has done unimaginable harm to folks we want to welcome and affirm. It's not surprising that in a group of 350 people, not everyone gets along. And to be honest, it's unnatural and human behavior for a group this size for everyone to get along. So that was mostly what we saw, and it was isolated here and there and specific to certain overlaps in years. The second issue raised was that meeting at St. Andrews caused harm to queer members or those who may have had adverse religious experiences. And it's a very important one to fully clarify. I'm not going to repeat everything I shared in August on behalf of the Guild, but the PMQG Presidents of the Year, the decision was made to move to St. Andrews from PNCA, our previous meeting place, and the President of the Year that the move took place, both shared full testimony about that experience while in leadership. Neither remembered any member expressing serious objections, and our email search has not found any concerns that were expressed at the time. More recently, there seems to be sort of a general perception that the church is harmful, but not necessarily that experiences within the church with anyone who works at the church or during meetings in the church were harmful, which is an important consideration when it comes to actionable next steps. Meanwhile, the main complaints we found about St. Andrews all center on its geographic location being inconvenient to some members. This has come up again and again. Some people who live in other parts of the metro area do not want to drive to Northeast Portland, and it's kind of a luxury at this point anyway. But that is the one thing that came up, is that some people didn't appreciate the distance from their homes. For us personally, the work that St. Andrews does to work for social justice, anti-racism, welcome and affirm their queer members, including employees, and a very robust outreach program, serve as a sanctuary space for refugees and immigrants, and provide accessibility for those experiencing disability. The work St. Andrews does in Portland literally aligns with our Guild values. Some of the feedback we've gotten about the church from those who did previously have concerns about church or religion in general has been that one member said they appreciated what St. Andrews does in the community and how welcome they are of queer members in leadership, which they weren't aware of before. Someone appreciated that we meet in a gym community space that has absolutely no religious decoration. Someone said that spending time there with PMQG, this is all very general. I don't want to expose anyone. This is, just general comments. I'm not giving any personal details or information. That spending time there with PMQG created new positive associations with the religious space. And as we shared in August, whether we ever meet at this location again, every dollar we paid in well under market rental fees for a nonprofit went directly to their food pantry and utility assistance fund, not for any religious purpose or any salary. This is actually absolutely not to dismiss real concerns about the Catholic Church globally or someone's lived experience personally. We can only work with the information we have. I would just like to take 1 second to also affirm that we absolutely welcome, love, and support our Catholic PMQG members. I imagine that these last couple of months have been difficult, having a real crisis around our meeting space that also may spill over into criticism of some of our valued members' faith. And what I want to emphasize here is that we do not have any tolerance for discrimination of religious beliefs. We don't accept it and welcome it into our meeting topics, but you are as welcome as a Catholic member as any other. And I just personally want to emphasize that that's been a very hard part of this, is that it's a very difficult topic. I also just want to share quickly that as the MQG DIA committee let us know, the vast majority of over 200 MQGs meet in churches when they can meet in person. And it's because it's inexpensive, affordable, and large. So We have a list of over 17 alternate locations we're looking into. We have a committee of 3 of us right now, and it's only for 2023, so there's no urgency, but we would absolutely love to have more people help us with that. So please reach out to the board if you'd like to evaluate some other wonderful places and compare them with St. Andrews so that we can make the best decision as a guild for a year from now. In navigating this incredibly difficult process, one understandable criticism has been that our board of 8 people with work, family, vacations, and exhaustion levels has not been able to move as quickly as a single individual who can post whatever they think or feel strongly about on their own social media. But our priority has been communicating with you, our members, in monthly meetings and in email newsletters, not on social media where a heated remark can explode and take much energy and time to repair. We have answered every email we've received, and I'm incredibly thankful to say that the huge majority of them have been affirming, supportive, and honestly kept us going. There are a smaller number of guild members and potentially a larger number of non-members, but they're not really in the conversation, who aren't as satisfied with our efforts, and they are absolutely entitled to their opinions and can continue to think and feel however they want about this group of 8 people. We simply can't please everyone at every time. We've worked so hard to do the best we can in service of all 350 of you. So here's what we've been up to. The 2021 board has worked towards building much needed structure and policy to help future board volunteers work through any difficult situations. The last thing we want to do is watch something like this repeat, because it has been incredibly hard and incredibly destructive. This nonprofit has been running on the honor system for 12 years, and this summer that broke. I'm proud to say that our board has created a clear and ethical vote of no confidence process based on other nonprofits' time-tested policy. The person who called for a vote of no confidence has not chosen to pursue the process, but if this kind of difficult situation ever arises again, future volunteers will have better tools than we did. We also developed the PMQG grievance based on the MQG's policy with a few notable differences. In a local guild, no matter how large, many folks know each other, and tapping our board or DEIA leadership to appoint a mediator or panel in this process may not be possible, and someone may need to recuse themselves, leaving an absence in that process flow. Instead, we're asking for volunteers for a new ethics and elections committee, which will be a large and diverse group of non-board members. We'd like to invite local, distant, longtime, newer, and all interested members to serve on this important committee. Kimberly, would you like to speak on the PMQG grievance quickly? We consulted with MQG on this and mirrored theirs, both some important differences, because we aren't a global organization with impartial folks who are in a different city, time zone, and situation than the grievance.
Yes, thank you, Susan. I asked to speak to this specifically, in light of a lot of the things that we've gone through this year as a guild, this past couple of years. And now there's a grievance policy in place, right? But I just implore you all to really dig down deep and make sure this isn't your default, right? Our default should not be grievances. Our default should be self-examination and reflection before we reach out. And, there's a lot going on between the guild and maybe even individuals on social media, for example. And so a lot of that, we shouldn't be seeking the guild's help in resolving those conflicts. We should really seek to understand how we can resolve those things ourselves individually and with each other. And so that, again, this is our place of escape. This is like our place of meditation and healing as a guild. And so I just really want to implore you, even though we have this grievance policy, a lot of it is very laid out in terms of, the steps and the escalation process. I just, especially, we have a new board coming in next year. I don't want them to have to worry about grievance policies, right? And what do we do if people don't agree with us? I think, one thing that is really important for us to recognize as a guild is that our numbers and our time and a lot of the things that we've been doing have put us in the place of being leaders within MQG. The fact that we have a DEIA committee, is something that a lot of guilds within the MQG don't even have and that they aspire to have. So really recognizing ourselves and our position as leaders in this space, and also, you know, checking in with ourselves. A part of what we've done as a DEIA committee is to develop a checklist, which we're calling an inclusion checklist, to check in with yourself. It's a list of 10 items to just kind of go through mentally and checking in with yourself. Maybe it's about grievances. Maybe it's about things you're going through. Maybe, you know, it's just you personally when it comes to DEIA type issues. But I just wanted to really speak out about that and just kind of hope that we can resolve a lot of these things ourselves. You know, like if we have a couple of individuals who have had issues and years have gone by and one person has a whole bunch of followers, that should not suddenly become an emergency for the guild, right? And, you know, I'm just being really transparent and just kind of tagging on to a lot of the things that Susan has said as well. But that's all I wanted to say. And I thank you all for being here and being a part and volunteering and stepping up. And I love our guild. That's all.
Thank you, Kimberly. I really appreciate your words and your leadership. Just to finish this quickly, although I appreciate everyone's time, patience, and grace for us. It's been a hard process, and to be perfectly honest, it didn't feel right not to address this difficult questions we're being forced to ask in August and not ever readdress them because someone dropped the vote of no confidence. We felt that our members deserve a clear picture how we've been trying our best behind the scenes, which may not be clear to everyone, you know, who's following us on Instagram. Last, speaking of Instagram, we developed a clear and common sense social media policy for both board members officially representing PMQG and those who attend meetings or events virtually and in person. This should protect everyone. And it's almost done. It's being fine-tuned for the order that we're arranging the sections in, and it will be on the members only page alongside the vote of no confidence and the grievance that we've previously described. And we'll let you know as soon as that's available. But we consulted with the MQG's leadership and the MQG's DEIA just to make it clear, common sense, protective, and allow absolutely as much privacy and as much individual freedom of opinion and thought as possible without causing harm to others. Last, each current board member has signed a new confidentiality agreement covering our access to both members and guild information, which we had already been following informally, but clearly after these events needed to be formalized. I hope that you'll reach out to us with any questions you have or concerns that you have, and we're here for you. And we'll be supporting our new incoming board members in this transition. So the next few months will be busy, but we've replied to every email that we've gotten so far. So let's keep the streak alive. Thank you so much, everyone. And it's on to something fun in a minute, finally. Renee and Allison, if you're here, we would love to preview tomorrow's wonderful fabric fundraiser together. If you're familiar with the fabric fundraiser in years past, we've held it in July in person. And last year over Zoom and Instagram, we decided we'd try to pull it off virtually. So it landed on our PMQG Gives Back Instagram, and we're bringing it back this year. And I just want to especially thank Renee Pipe, who's our VP of Membership and Procurement, for being an absolute superstar, not only procuring dozens and dozens and dozens of incredible items she's about to tell you about, but splitting the listings with me so that tomorrow you'll see more than 80 amazing things go live. Allison, would you like to share about CARES Northwest, one of the two organizations that we're supporting?
Yeah, thanks, Susan. I'll just share really quick. I know that we've mentioned it a couple times before, but CARES Northwest is a collaborative, community-based organization with a mission to end child abuse. They do this by providing medical and therapeutic care to children who have experienced abuse, and then also education and outreach programs to help prevent abuse from starting in the first place. Everything that happens at CARES is in a child-focused child-friendly and culturally competent environment, and they help thousands of children and their families each year from throughout Multnomah and Washington counties. And through my work, I've had the privilege to work with the care staff on a few different projects and seen firsthand just how they're able to meet families who are going through some of the most difficult things that they're ever going to have to face and help provide medical care and therapy and guidance and support through the legal process and all of these overwhelming things that come when abuse is found to have happened, and just help those kids and families on a path to healing. And I just think it's a really amazing organization and important to so many kiddos in our community. So happy that we're able to help support that great work.
Thank you, Allison. It means so much that you have such a personal connection with CARES Northwest, and I'm thrilled that they're one of our, 2 organizations locally to support. Plus, we have an innovative new idea this year. I'll quickly share about Outside In, which, if you're not in the Portland area, is an organization that's transformed thousands of lives by helping break the cycles of chronic homelessness, poverty, and poor health among Portland's LGBTQIA+ community, people of color, those experiencing homelessness, and the underserved. They offer thoughtful and trauma-informed mental and physical health care, and are committed to building relationships with their patients, ensuring that everyone is cared for, respected, and receives the medical treatment that they deserve. New this year, since our guild has become international, we wanted to make the Fabric fundraiser as international as we could as well. And we have a few special hashtag PMQG Gives Back International items in the fundraiser. Thank you so much to Nadia Sokol for spearheading this wonderful effort. She reached out to Breen Campbell, who many of you saw speak last month about her wonderful swap, and has gotten an amazing prize package put together with Breen. I reached out to Krista Henneberry, who has matched it with something else lovely that she'll be donating. And all of these items, instead of our 2 amazing Oregon and Washington-based organizations, will benefit the Handmade Collective Awards, a series of scholarships at Ryerson University for BIPOC, Indigenous, and Two-Spirit students. Handmade Collective Awards on Instagram is how to stay in touch with their incredible work, or you can just bid on these items and then you'll end up supporting them directly yourself. I just see a question from Nadia. Yes, you may absolutely promote the fundraiser outside of the PMQ Guild. Actually, could we do the next slide? That will answer this question visually. Absolutely. No, Nadia, it's a great question. International folks may bid on US items. Some are designated as US shipping only. I'm sorry about that, but with the rates. However, folks are flexible. If our donors generally get reimbursed for shipping. If someone in Canada would really like an item and is willing to pay international shipping and reimburse, I think we could definitely work something out. I absolutely appreciate the warmth and support. So now Renee was going to share a couple of favorite items that she's so lovingly procured for us.
Hi, this is Renee, and I have been really fortunate. Most everybody that I reached out to has been very generous with donating items for the raffle. I've also, there are 3 that are pictured here. One is the QuiltCon quilt that I had nothing to do with, that we made last year, and we decided to raffle this off. It's absolutely, I can't remember what's the name of it again, Susan?
It's Stronger Together, and it's designed by Erin Case.
Yes, and I just have it at my house. And then we have a couple of sewing machines we're giving away. Well, we're not giving away, but we're in the fundraiser. The one on the right includes quite a bit of swag with it. There's rulers, there's book, there's a fat quarter, there's cutters, many things. We also have a very generous package to the left that is a membership package for 2, including mugs, clappers, some bags, labels. We have many fat quarters to sell or to get to raffle off, fundraise. Just a lot of stuff. It would be even just fun just looking at. We have minimum bids put on most of the items, and they are very reasonably, the lower bids are, they're very reasonable. So we hope to see you this weekend online.
Yeah. Thank you, Renee. Everything will go live between 10 and 11 a.m. tomorrow on the PMQG Gives Back Instagram. Allison, Renee, and I will be checking. If you have any questions, you can, we'll try to answer them in the Instagram comments. Please feel free to email us in the main guild email and we can respond there as well. But it's just been such an honor to team up with Allison and Renee to work on this special project this year. And it's, we learned some tips and tricks about batch scheduling on Instagram that will make it a lot easier than our 2020 fabric fundraiser was process-wise. But we're still accepting a few. Oh, and thank you for that question. Everything is going to be, as a fundraiser, it will be escalating. We've actually, just to gently share, we're not using the term auction because Lindsay Aldani, a board member last year, shared the important context that it has connotations to the slave trade. And so we're using fundraiser in that sense, just to be transparent. But yes, things escalate where if you have a bid for $5 on something and I come in and want to buy it for $10, I tag you with your Instagram handle and say, I'll bid $10. And you can come back, tag me and bid 15, whatever you're most excited about. So we'll remind folks to tag the previous bidders. We'll come in and answer questions, as I mentioned, but there's so many amazing prizes and our members have been so generous. I just want to especially shout out Tamara King, who has donated, I think it went up to 26 individual lovely cuts and lots of fabric for this weekend. So you will find some incredible treasures, and all the money goes directly to Cares Northwest, Outside In, or the Ryerson Handmade Collective Awards. No money goes to the donors. You'll make a donation directly to the organizations and then share your screenshot with the person giving the prize and make arrangements for either porch pickup, shipping, or if it's a PDF or digital delivery, that's even easier. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the chat. But thank you and hope to see you this weekend. And let us know if you have any other things to offer. I think Allison, Renee, and I could squeeze in a couple more.
Thank you, Susan. And also an email went out today detailing the fabric fundraiser. So make sure to check your promotions folder. Okay, so Charity Sew drop off and pickup is this weekend from 10 to 1. You can find the address in the members only section of the website. Charity zipper bags, there are kits available. You can drop off and pick up on Mondays. Text before you go. The text message or the phone number and address is in the members only section. If you have gallon size freezer bags or half-yard pieces of fabric or more, they would be willing to take them, and that will benefit the Portland Homeless Family Solutions. Quilter Filter is on November 4th. Jenny McKee will be hosting, and she will be facilitating the conversation about binding and how do you bind your quilts and what your favorite method is. And the conversation will open up from there. If you're looking for a small group to join, this is a really great way to kind of get in conversation with your fellow PMQG members. And with that, I think, Jenny, are you here to talk about?
I'm here.
Hi.
Hi. Roseanne and I are going to host a just drop in, join us for sewing and quilting on the first weekend of December. We haven't gotten all the plans together, so if you would like to throw in your ideas, please DM one of us on IG, but it's basically, I'll be there at 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturday and Sunday with my coffee to open us up. Joanne's the night owl. She won't be there, but she'll come in later and stay up late with you when I go off to bed. We have been invited to join Michelle Friedman's family for their Hanukkah festivities on Saturday evening because it is during the last of Hanukkah. And so we'll get a time from her and make a schedule that'll be available next month. So it's just the idea of work on your projects, whether holiday or not, drop by and have a chat. And it's a way to do some virtual sewing together, quilting together in what's going to be a cold winter here in the Northwest.
Thank you, Jenny. And all the information and Zoom link will be available on the members only page. And we'll keep talking about this next month to let everybody know all of the details. So thank you. The QuiltCon community outreach quilt, I believe, has been finished being pieced. The theme was angles. And we need a name for this quilt. So typically what we have done is had people post ideas for a name of the quilt in the chat, or email ideas for a name into the guild. And then we will all vote on names between October 25th and 29th. So if you have an idea for our angle challenge quilt, a name for it, that would be great. And we can all decide together what we should call it. I see there's some names coming into the chat. All right, Anne, if you're able to, could you write those down for me, please? Thank you. So the block of the month for October is Tara here. Tara, did you want to talk about the block?
Tara is not, she's not on
Okay.
the list of participants.
Okay, thank you. So basically this was all about food and water. And if you are interested in joining the block of the month, it's never too late. The pattern's still there. And they have a block of the month small group that Tara attends to talk about the issues with each, or to talk about the issues that are presented in each block, and then also just to chat and for community. So thank you. I wanted to talk about Quilt Fest Northwest is currently going on at the Clark County Quilters with the Clark County Quilters. It's at the Clark County Events Center, and you should go and check it out. I think we have some members quilts in the show this year. And finally, the business member spotlight is me. So I am also a long arm quilter. I am the owner of Looped Quilting Studio. I'm located in Southeast, just off of 205 north of Gladstone. I do also accept mailing quilts. And you can find me on Instagram at Looped Quilting. And my website is loopedquilting.com. And just a reminder for anybody, really get your holiday quilts into your long armor now if you want to be able to have them bound in time for Christmas. Okay. And with that, let's get started with show and tell. Anne, you're first with some family quilts.
Hello.
Hi.
So I did want to share that since tonight we were hearing from Tara about so many vintage quilts and that have been lovingly handmade. Some of the quilts that I have from my family, well, I might have fixed my camera. And so this came to me from my dad, who is my stepdad, but I call him my dad. And this was all hand pieced, and it is huge and incredibly heavy. It's probably a queen size, and I'm not sure how long this took. They called her Mildred Davis. She was a friend of the family, and she lived in the same apartment building as my dad and his brother and family when they were growing up. in Newport News, Virginia, and didn't have any children of their own. And so we're very close with the two boys and gifted this to the family. This was completed in 1973. She hand stitched on, or it looks like machine stitched maybe a tag, and then wrote her name on it as well. But it's just amazing. And it really has informed a lot of my personal style as well, and using vintage fabrics is really important to me. And I haven't quite gotten to the hand piecing part of quilting yet, but would like to try that as well. I have a couple of slides, so we can go to the next one. This one was made by my dad's mom. On the right hand side, I guess I put them in the wrong order. I didn't check, but that's okay. On the left there, those are again by Mildred Davis. This was completed in 1972, and so she's very prolific. I mean, she completed this one in 72 and the other in 73. Wow. I'll hand quilt it again, and I know that they had the big frames and probably worked on this as a group to complete the quilting. On the right hand side, you can see the tag from my grandmother, and she completed that quilt in 1991. The top right is kind of a little close-up of something from the next slide. The left, it was cotton bowl, and then on the right hand side is kind of an unknown. My dad says that it's been in his family since the 1910s or 20s, he believes. It's a really nice weight, and it's really, really comfortable. I don't really want to use it too much. You can see there's a little bit of damage. It's been kind of hand mended, but all of these quilts are so comfy, and you can just feel the love and care that has gone into them. And so they feel really special to me. I'm really glad to have them. And I feel that all the quilts that I make are going to be family quilts as well. I made my first quilt for my son. He has it in his bedroom. I've made, them for my family members, my mom, and I have one planned for my husband too. So I think the family and quilts are pretty intertwined. So, thank you.
Thanks, Anne. Thanks for sharing these with us. Is Jen here?
So I didn't see her in the participant list, but I'll give her a moment just in case. This is one of the UFOs that she had on her UFO list. She's in the UFO club.
Okay.
And then I also didn't see Mimi here as well, but just in case. So under the show and tell sign up, she said that Sully loves trucks, especially emergency response vehicles, and this is for him.
That's cute. Oh, and this is me. So this is actually pieced, well, the center was pieced by Karen Boland. So this was a round robin that she did, and she asked me to quilt it for her. And so all of the quilting, I mean, it took me forever to do, and she was so patient, which was really lovely. So the quilting was done by me, and it was just this really awesome collaboration project between her, me, and then all of these other people that worked on the quilt. So each different border was done by somebody else. And this was actually at Pacific International Quilt Festival. So I was really proud of that. So Jenny.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
This is a quilt that I did this summer. It was a quilt along by Joe Avery, and it's in her book. I can't remember the name of it now, but the quilt is Bedding Plants, and I had a great time on it. I used many fabrics from Northcott's Fabrics of the States, Flowers of the States from the early 1990s is when it was out. So many of the fabrics in there are flowers from the various, their state flowers.
It's really pretty. Sarah, are you here?
Yep, I'm here. I made this quilt the inspired by the middle panel, which Amory Callie gave me at a Quilt Guild meeting, and I just about died. It was so beautiful. And she like found this vintage tiger and she's like, this is your style. I'm like, oh my gosh, it is. And I kept it for a long time. And I feel like, you know, this is the time to use that fabric that we've been saving forever. So I'm going to use the cool stuff. I have a lot of tattoos. I was in the Navy. So I created a middle piece that is reminiscent of a classic tattoo, tiger fights snake, which symbolizes wrestling bad habits or letting go of old bad habits. And then the strawberries on the side were all orphan blocks from my strawberry wild quilt block that the MQG showed, or they gave it on their free patterns and they sent me back the blocks. So I put those in there, and then I used some of my favorite bits of vintage fabrics. And I just improv pieced that snake like freestyle paper piecing, when you take a big piece of paper and just kind of draw on it. So that's it. And I'm like, save this forever. But now it's a quilt. So I'm really glad that it's somewhere, not just like in my stash.
Nice. Thank you. Tamara.
Hi, I'm here.
Hi.
Hi. This quilt lives at my aunt's house, so I didn't have a full body shot of it. But this is the quilt that my great grandmother, Ola Bell, made for my grandmother, Mildred Olita, as a wedding quilt. But she didn't make it for her until after their first child was born, 6 years after their wedding, just in case it didn't work out. And I never quilted or appreciated quilts when I was growing up. I was surrounded by quilts made by my great grandmother and my grandmother. I never really appreciated them until a few years ago. But what I really love about Ola Bell's quilts, and this is true of all of her quilts, is that, you know, she was dirt poor. She just used whatever scraps came her way, but she had a great color sense. And that's why I love this block, because obviously, you know, she didn't have enough of any one color to do it, but the colors that she put together look great. And that's a theme throughout her quilts. So I feel lucky to have several of them at my house now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that with us. Gail.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, so I made this, I posted this quilt. I don't know who made it. I got it as a gift when I was staying at a homeless shelter when I was pregnant in 1990 in San Francisco. And I just thought I would show it because it's really cool for other people who donate things, especially to homeless shelters, to see that they're actually used and loved. And you can see how much it's been worn over time. And yeah, so that's our little family heirloom quilt. And that's it.
Looks like it's really special.
Thanks. And then this is a quilt that I just finished and I'm really excited about it. It's so big, I couldn't even get the whole quilt on the photo. But it was a commission that I just did with the color choices of burnt orange, burgundy, taupe with a pop of aqua. And pretty happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Thanks.
Kimberly.
Hello. So
Hi.
this is an example of my new pattern called Bar Gelato. This is a colorway I call Citrus. And so the whole idea is this is a quilt taking cuts of gelato from Maywood Studio, which is an ombre fabric, where the ends are darker and it gets lighter towards the middle. And you're staggering those strips to create this Bargello type effect. But then there's a lot of negative space as well. And so with this one, I used a digital design by Carly Porter. I think it's called Swirls or Curls or something like that. And I chose a neon yellow thread, which kind of matches the middle of that print. But then as you see on the gray background, it really pops, but then it fades into that citrus color. So again, this is a great quilt along. Feel free to join. There are lots of different prints of the gelato. So I have like 4 examples on my Instagram for you to see, but the possibilities are endless. That's it. So yeah, it's not a vintage quilt from my family or anything like that, but yeah. Thank you.
Jenny, you're up next.
This is a quilt that was made by my mother's grandmother, my great grandmother, Winnie Rowland, who lived outside of Spokane. And it is hand pieced with scraps that she got from a garment factory near Spokane. And the top came to, she made it in the 50s, you can tell by the fabric. And the top came to my mother by way of her mother. And my mother quilted it onto a sheet using the treadle sewing machine that I learned to sew on. So I had that quilt from the time I was about 10 years old and slept under it till I had made my own full bed size quilt in the late 90s, no, early 90s. And so I credit it with my love of quilting and why I started quilting when I was about 17. And I still have it. I don't use it because after over 30 years of hard work, it is somewhat falling apart, but it's very precious to me.
Thank you for sharing that story. It's beautiful.
And this is from my dad's side of the family. Dolly Morningstar Walker of Walker, Oregon, began this quilt in 1930, and it's a crazy quilt made from scraps from the clothes of her husband and 10 children. My grandmother, Icy Dolly Walker McKee, took it and finished the top after Dolly died in 1932. The top came to Dolly's seventh child, Aunt Sybil, great Aunt Sybil. And in 1980, she cut the top in half and made it into 2 tied lap quilts for my cousin and I, who were Icy's only granddaughters. So again, I used it on my couch for many years, and it's got a lot of good wool fabrics that held together, but it has some of the rayons and velveteens that haven't held together so well. But again, it's a precious memory for me.
Is Marina here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi.
Hi. So my coworker had a baby, Axel, and the mom is in the Air Force Reserve and the dad is active Air Force, and they're very patriotic. And the quilt has, called the Star Spangled Baby Quilt from, what was it, Under the Perry Tree blog. And it was quilted by Elvira Gaskins. And I put little, you can't see it, but they're little airplanes and animals and stuff that the family loves. They work on Tomcats. Not the animals, the airplanes. So it's the first baby quilt I've ever made. It was fun because it was so fast.
It's cute. Okay. Remember, I'm going to go through these announcements and then have 2 bundles of Halloween fabric from Maywood Studio to give away. So our next meeting is November 18th with Carolina Oneto. We have Audrey Esseray's Exploring Curves workshop, which is currently sold out. Organic Shapes with Carolina, we still have space available in that workshop, and that's on November 21st. Charity Quilts is this weekend on the 23rd. We have a bonus program on November 14th with Kimberly Benefield and Michelle Friedman, and that should be really good. And let's see, Quandi Small Group is October 22nd. Queer Quilter Small Group, October 27th. Sunday Small Group, October 24th. Quilter Filter is November 4th. Block of the Month Small Group is November 5th. And the DEI Committee is going to announce their date, and it will be in the next newsletter or the newsletter after that. I'm not really sure. Okay, so I am going to just quickly stop my share and pull up a random. Let's see if I can figure out how to do this. Okay. I'm going to do a random number generator. Okay, and I will share my screen again so that all. And what we're going to do is I'm going to, let's see, we have 68 participants. So I'm going to put in 1 through 68. And the only rules are that you can't win if you're a board member. Sorry. So the random number, the first one is 53. So Erin's going to go down the list on her screen, which might be different than your screen, and tell me who number 53 is.
Erin, while you're counting, this is Susan. I was wondering if I could just add one thing. Just wanted to say happy birthday, Chris. You're amazing. And we waited till the end of the meeting, but we just wanted to tell you how wonderful you are and hope you have a wonderful birthday week, and all the best in this coming year, because you're amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. Oh, thanks. And then I'm gonna generate the next number, if that's okay, Erin. So you're looking for 53. The next number is 65, so keep counting. Thanks everybody for the birthday wishes. It's really nice.
All right, so the first number is whoever is identified here as RLPOR.
Oh, who is that?
That would be me, Vicky Portley.
Vicky Portley, congratulations. Hey,
Thank you.
do you mind emailing the guild your address and let us know that you are one of the winners?
Okay, we'll do. Thank you.
Get that fabric to you. Yeah, and then, you know, last minute Halloween project waiting for you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And then the second person, it made it very easy because I just counted down. It was the person who's identified as V.
V.
The letter V.
Who is letter V?
It's Veronica.
Veronica, congratulations. Can you also send an email with your address and just say, I won some fabric tonight?
Okay, well, thank you.
And I'll know what you're talking about and I'll get that out to you. So thank you so much for being here, everybody.
Thank you.
And thanks for all the birthday wishes. That's really sweet. All right. Well, thanks everybody for being here. I'll leave the meeting open if people want to stick around and chat. I am going to probably go to bed. Good night, everybody.
Night.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night.